So we're a little late to the party talking about the Houston game. I mean, everybody, I think, was pretty nervous when it started floating around social media that Curtis and Keshon are both going to be out 32 points a game or whatever it is. And Mark Freund from Channel 13 even put on his Twitter telling Iowa State fans you might want to change the channel as the game started. And I responded to him and said, I'm glad I didn't take your advice because it was a heck of a game. And Heise makes that second three. That would be a game changer, and we're going to talk about the worst call in history eventually. But it was an entertaining game to be on the road against one of the best teams in the country.
Yeah, 100%. A few things I took away. I think first and foremost is Houston's really good. Cryer obviously was incredible. Uzan is a lot better than I remember him being. I mean, he was pretty good for Oklahoma, but I think he's definitely found the right fit and is playing much better than he did than his time in Norman. And then their bigs are just so impressive. I mean, they're so long. I think they've got two guys with wingspans over 7'5", which is really tough to deal with. I think that goes to show, just looking at Joshua Jefferson's stat line, he didn't shoot it very well from the field. And I think that was a big reason why. And I think Kelvin Sampson's one of the best coaches in the country. I don't think anyone can argue that. And watching his press conference too, I don't know if most Iowa State fans did. If they haven't, they should. He just is so intelligent in the game of basketball, but he also respects the heck out of TJ, which I think is really nice just because I feel like there was a time kind of in our fans' history where coaches didn't really respect Iowa State, and I think that really changed when Fred obviously took the job. But TJ's taken us to new heights, as we've talked about a million times. But for us, I mean, it was really a tale of two halves. I mean, the first half was brutal at times. We couldn't get any shots off. When we did, they weren't falling. But to be down by 12 felt like we felt okay. And then all of a sudden you look up, we're down 1. So, I mean, credit to the guys stepping up. Obviously, I don't think TJ didn't have a contingency plan for not having Curtis and Keshon in a game, I'm sure. So I'm sure they were scrambling to get a game plan together. But man, I thought Heise was awesome. He's definitely got his confidence back, which is absolutely huge going into March. And I thought Milan offensively in the second half was as good as I've seen him. I mean,
right, I agree.
That one move, he faked a reverse pivot on Sharp and then went in for a layup was sweet.
Yeah. He's got a lot in that bag. He just hasn't used it very much. He did a left-handed one the game before too, and yeah, he definitely stepped up. And then you got to give a shout out to Kelderman. I mean, Kelderman came in, and when I heard that on the radio, I go, what? I mean, that's going to be who backing up Taman, and he came in and really held his own on defense. And I think once the flow of the game started going, you realized how fast the game was. But he did what we needed him to do. I mean, he just needed to come in and make sure that he was in long enough so Taman didn't pass out. I mean, Kelderman played 9 minutes, so I mean that was a good outing by him, and I'm sure it was a memory that he'll have forever.
Yeah, I mean, for a walk on to get your first meaningful minutes, Houston's probably the worst possible team to be playing. But yeah, I agree. I mean, he stayed in front of their guards, and their guards are good. So I thought was really proud of his effort, and he just played really hard. And obviously, I mean, he's in all TJ's practices, so he knows how to play our defense. So just goes to show TJ can teach about anyone to play defense. But I think he was great. I thought Demarion gave good minutes again. I thought it was honestly Demarion's 1-3 in the first half was the best rhythm shot I've seen him shoot as a Cyclone. I thought it looked really good and really natural. So I wish he would shoot more when he played.
Only 3 he took.
I know. It looked good.
I mean, and he could see him. He was just kind of, I just know basketball players. I mean, the way he reacted to it, like, I can basically look like he's saying, I can do this, and I need to make sure everybody does. But then he didn't take another 3 the rest of the game.
I know. But I mean, I thought he guarded on the perimeter really well too. He switched.
And he always has.
Yeah. But the thing is too, going to the game, you told me, I mean, you asked what happens if Jackson and Jefferson gets in foul trouble,
right?
And then 10 minutes in the first half, Jackson has 3 fouls.
Yeah, we basically played without 3 starters.
Yeah,
because Jackson was a non-factor,
and we were in it until we're done 2 with 3 minutes left.
Yeah,
It was. So I think this game only positive things to come away from it from our standpoint. I think Houston should be a 1 seed. They're legit, but I think when we're healthy, we are right there. So I kind of like how the narrative is kind of no one's really talking about us anymore. We've had a couple losses. We obviously had the 3-game stretch in January, but like when we're full strength, we have 1 loss to Auburn on a last second tip in. So if we end up as a 3 seed, I really like our chances because I think we're kind of getting overlooked right now. I mean, the metrics aren't overlooking us. We're still like the 8th best team in the country with 4 or 5 or 7 games without Milan, 1 game without Curtis and Keshon against one of the best teams in the country. So but I think we should just get into it now though.
We're going to talk about the cylinder.
One of the worst calls I have ever seen.
Yeah. Especially
because they got it right live.
Right. Yeah, that was the most frustrating part. I mean, the referees all got it right on the floor, and somehow they go to the monitor and screw it up. I mean, I don't know what to say. I mean, everybody's hammered it to death. All the Iowa State fans that I know,
but no, I mean, not everyone. No one in the media. They didn't talk about it.
Oh no, like, but Jay Billis did. I mean,
live, but then
Jay had the best comment yet. I mean, he said, if Heise's in the cylinder, you're in the cylinder all the time. And the message they're sending is that if somebody's in the cylinder, take their head off because you're not going to get a foul called on them.
Yeah.
I mean,
I just don't understand. Right. In my mind, that shouldn't be reviewable. Like, you shouldn't be able to turn it into a cylinder call. That has to be like the call on the floor, in my opinion. Like, I'm sure you can look at anything in slow motion and convince yourself it looks like a cylinder call based on what the angle was, but the guy had the right angle live, and it didn't. Like, if you watch Cryer's elbow, he has freedom of motion to move his torso, and then his elbow is out of his cylinder and then smokes Heise in the face. So,
well, and the rule supposedly says you have to be able to make a basketball play. He made a basketball play to get into the cylinder because he made one pivot and Heise didn't move. And then the next pivot is when it gets clocked.
Yeah.
So that's a potential 8-point swing.
Right. Because it should have been what should have happened is they go to the monitor. It was forceful contact to the head or neck area. That's 2 free throws in the ball. So we make 2 free throws. We're down 1, hit a 3. We're up 2.
Right. Yeah.
But then, of course, the hit's a step back 3, which you knew whenever those calls happen, that's what happens. But then just down the stretch, they got every single call, and they got every call against Texas Tech last night too. So, I mean, they're starting to get the Kansas treatment, which, I mean, it's hard to argue they shouldn't, but like that was an absolutely huge point in the game where we fought back. We were down 16, and especially because the momentum was going our way. Heise takes a charge, gets smoked in the face. Like that just keeps the momentum going, and they potentially just start to spiral because I love Cryer. He's a great player, but like when things aren't going their way, he does not shoot that way. He shoots that way when things are going well for them. And obviously they did. And it took his second best game of the year for them to beat us without Keshon and Curtis, which I think says a lot about us more than them.
Right.
But like, it's just so annoying to get that call against us in that moment. And then like 3 possessions later, they shove Taman under the baseline to hit another step back 3. So like,
yeah, that was Houston. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, and Taman falls over and maybe gets the call, but like, it's just so irritating where because obviously to beat Houston at Houston down Keshon and Curtis, we'd have to have something go our way, and we had nothing go our way.
Yeah.
On top of that, Milan goes 0 for 7 in the first half, and we're still down 2 or 3 minutes left. Like, yeah, I just think we should be so proud of our guys, but like, I really would have liked to see how the flow of the game would have happened if we get that call, make those 2 free throws, and we're down 1, and then who knows what happens. I mean, because even in the context of they hit all those step back 3s and they got those calls, we were still down 2 with 3 to go. Like, that's crazy. Like, we potentially could have been up 5 or 6. We still may have lost. I'm not saying like it cost us the game, but like it was an absolutely huge call.
But between those 2 calls, the push off on Taman and the non-cylinder foul that was called the cylinder foul, that's 11 points. A potential of 11.
The non-existent Heise's 4th foul where they call an and 1 on Cryer's floater where Heise's not touching him.
Right. Yeah, Heise's not getting the benefit of the doubt from anybody this year.
No,
I mean,
all year.
All year he's gotten screwed on calls. So he gets hammered in the face and gets a third foul called on him, and his fourth foul is a phantom. So,
yeah. So
and then I saw him go to the ref after the game and say something to him. I'm sure his frustration is really bubbling up. I mean, you see, Cryer had 5 points last night.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like Cryer is good, but he's not Dwayne Wade. He played like Dwayne Wade. Like, my good. I mean, and then of course, like we're down 5, and then Sharp hits a 30-foot step back 3 with like a minute left. Like they had everything going. So like in a game like that, we probably weren't going to beat them. But the thing is, if we have Keshon and Curtis, I think we beat them.
Yeah.
Because we were so anemic offensive in the first half. I mean, we had 22 points for crying out loud. And we lost by 9.
Yeah.
So, especially then, because they came out and played really well to start the second half, too. So, if we were down 16. I was like, oh, crap, we're going to lose by 30.
Yeah.
But then, I mean, Heise really shot the ball well. Milan was great. So, I don't know. I came away really feeling pretty good. The thing is now, if we want a 2 seed, we probably can lose one more, maybe. I'd like to win out just to I think if we win out, we're probably a solid 2 seed. And then, but I think the only thing that matters now going forward is like Keshon's got to get healthy. If Keshon's not healthy, like we're not going to make the Final Four, unfortunately. So we need to do whatever we can to get him as healthy as possible going into March. And honestly, I was talking to Thomas yesterday. I think we should sit him in the Big 12 tournament. I don't think he should play. Like it just makes no sense. It adds nothing. I mean, people forget last year, Houston was ranked number 1 in the country going into the Big 12 title game. We won by 30. And then we get stuck in UConn's bracket as the lowest 2 seed.
Yeah.
So
but you never know if the committee is going to change their mind. And did somebody tell them that they need to count the conference tournaments now too? I mean, you know, with our luck, they all of a sudden would weight the conference tournament more this year, and we, throw in the towel there. I mean, we went out, we're a 2 seed. I don't care what happens in Kansas City.
Yeah.
I mean, you beat Arizona, BYU, and at Kansas State, those 3 games. I mean, you're a 2 seed at least. So, Kansas State, I said it on here. I said Kansas State could go back to being Kansas State, and that's what they did. Hawkins is hurt, obviously, which doesn't help any. But they've gone south, and Arizona's been up and down. I mean, you can't even bet on the Big 12 games anymore. You have no idea who's going to play well what night.
I mean, BYU just beat Kansas by 30?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's...
Just need the double bye. We need the double bye for the Big 12. And I honestly don't even care what seed we are anymore. I mean, after seeing Milan being out, seeing Curtis and Keshon, I want us healthy after the Big 12 tournament and rested. And I don't care what seed we are because I don't think anybody wants to play us.
I would argue if we fall to a 4, that would not be good because, having to play the 1 seed in the Sweet 16 would not be ideal. But then again, if whatever 1 seed gets us as a 4, would not be happy because, at full strength, we're a 1 seed. I don't think you can argue that. So,
yeah.
I don't know. It's going to be fun. But yeah, like you said, like right now, you got to be playing your best basketball in March. And for us to play our best basketball, we need to have all our guys. And we just haven't had all our guys since December. So
for just a couple games. That's the thing that's, I just hope that it carries over when we are at full strength, that Heise remembers what he can do.
Right.
And Milan asserts himself a little more on the offensive end. We know what we're getting with Demarion now. Demarion has had his shot a million times. He is a hustle guy. He's a defensive guy, and he's a rebounder. If you get 3-5 points out of that kid, that's a bonus. But, if he's the guy, we need, if we have a matchup issue, he's going to probably come in. I think Noyes is done. Every time he comes in, he turns it over, it seems like, and that TJ has no time for that. But so we have a pretty solid, 9 guys that you can go to war with. But then you forget that when you get in the NCAA tournament, the timeouts are so long that Jake Sullivan said one time, he goes, I can't get tired in the NCAA tournament. And then Bob Huggins said, I don't even know what to say during those long of a timeouts. So, so the depth issue, as long as we're healthy, won't really matter that much once we hit the tournament. So
agree.
I think that being said, it was going to be a fun Big 12. I mean, with Arizona and Arizona State, I mean, I know they're probably not going to travel that great, but if people remember, you want to watch a good Kelvin Sampson press conference, go back and watch his post-game press conference after the Big 12 championship game last year. It was basically an infomercial for Iowa State.
Right, 100%. Yeah, so yeah, it'll be, I mean, Big 12 tournament's always a great time, and obviously if we win it, I'm not going to be upset, but just like the risk reward, it just really isn't worth it right now, especially if Keshon's banged up. So I mean, if we win it without Keshon, awesome, but like I would strongly consider, if I was TJ, to just sit him maybe or if we win one game and sit him after that, just because it's just not worth it to lose him for the NCAA tournament. Yeah, you're right. I think Demarion, it's a luxury to have him as your ninth guy, because he stepped in and we don't fall off. We don't he plays our defense extremely well. He's one of our best rebounders. It's frustrating.
You could argue he is our best rebounder.
I mean, rebounds per minute, I think he's winning by a ton.
Yeah. Just
because he hasn't played many minutes. But the thing that's frustrating is he's shown to be a capable shooter. Like, this is the best he's shot at in all his time as a Cyclone. So there might be a game in March where he is open in the corner and he may knock it down. But I think the one thing, when we get Keshon and Curtis back, is if Heise's knocking down shots like this, and you have to respect him and Milan in the corners.
Yeah,
Keshon and Curtis can get the rim whenever they want.
Lane is wide open. I mean, you can't guard that. I mean, if you have to honor those guys, it also changes the way they double team, because I don't know if you watched the Texas Tech game last night, but Texas Tech or Houston doubled their post with the free throw line extended guards defender, which is a really odd person to bring down to double. And so they left the guy in the corner on the opposite side, stayed on his guy. And so the post player from Texas Tech, I think it was Toppin, recognized that, looked opposite, and hit the guy that the defender left to come double team him. The defender in the corner had to go to the guy at the free throw line extended, and they got a wide open three in the corner. And so Houston is, they're as aggressive as we are as far as double teamings go.
Right.
And they're so long that it really makes it hard to throw that skip pass you're talking about. But if your bigs can recognize where the double team's coming from, we should be able to get Milan and or Heise or Curtis on the opposite side a shot.
Yeah, it's true.
So I don't want to see Houston again till Final Four. I mean, I'd like to. I mean, I'm not sure who I want to see at this point. I mean, because I think anybody can beat anybody in any given time. I mean, Colorado's even playing better right now. So it'll be a fun tournament. I mean, but I know the bars and the Bar and Light want Iowa State to go to the championship game because it's good for business.
For sure, especially with Kansas being as bad as they are this year too. And
how many people from Kansas end up going?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's not that far of a drive, but I mean, the thing is that these prices are going to go up every year, especially with how many good teams are in the Big 12. And I'm sure Arizona's fans travel fairly well. And I think a couple of guys we haven't even talked about. I thought Taman's been really shooting the ball well. I mean, his shot looks as good as it's looked in a long time, which makes me think his thumb's probably healing. And defensively, I think he's just so freaking good. I mean, he does so many things that if you're not a basketball fan, you probably don't notice, but he just makes the opposing point guard's life not very fun.
Right. And it doesn't matter who it is.
Right, exactly. And
he hasn't been smoked by anybody this year.
No. And then Joshua Jefferson at 8 assists. I mean, that one no-look bounce pass to Heise cutting baseline was awesome. It would have been nice if he would have scored more than 4 points.
Yeah.
I think that was probably
right. That's the only negative of Jefferson. When we're that shorthanded, we can't have him, going 1 for 8 or whatever you want. But.
Yeah, I mean, if you had told me before the game that you get 9 points from Jefferson and Jackson, and then you tell me that Milan makes no shots in the first half, I would be like, oh, we lose by 35.
Yeah, right. Yeah. No, I mean, we like we said this, when Milan went down as a chance for us to build some depth, and I think we have with Milan being out and even the experience our kids had with Houston. But Houston, we played nine guys, 8. I guess he just played 2, so we played 8 guys without those 2 guys. So you got some guys that got some serious minutes that will hopefully remember that. Did you see that Texas Tech played 6 guys last night?
Yeah, well, they had their 2 best players out too. So I mean, how lucky is Houston to go this Saturday Monday stretch against 2 top 10 teams and have 4 of their best players missing?
Or is that by design? I mean, did everybody see, this is Houston, we're not going to catch them for the Big 12 championship. This is a good night.
One of the Texas Tech guys was in a boot, so I think they had 2 starters out too. So I mean,
one of those guys was supposed to be in Ames.
Yeah, I think we told him.
Yeah, he was.
Told him we didn't want him.
Yeah, I don't know what happened, but I know he was on our radar.
He was.
I mean, we're talking about the Big 12. Give me 1 second here, but Big 12, the 10-day forecast goes out to Tuesday of the Big 12 tournament in Kansas City, and the high on Tuesday, March 11th. So the Big 12 starts the next day, right? The 12th.
I think it starts Tuesday.
Oh, well, the high on Tuesday, March 11th is 62. That'll be a mess in the Power and Light.
Yeah. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think tonight this is gonna be a little dated. I mean, hopefully we can take care of business. Curtis is back. He's down. We saw him. He was warming up with them yesterday. So I hope Keshon doesn't play. I mean,
yeah, I hope so too.
Especially if it's a groin. I mean, fighting one of those is.
Yeah, I don't know. I wish they would tell you what the injury was. They just say lower body injury, which is about as vague as it gets.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I agree. If we lose to Okie State without Keshon, then I would rather that than him get hurt against Okie State. I mean, they're not that good this year. The thing is, too, with these teams that aren't that good, if you just get up early on them, a lot of them will quit. I think Colorado quit at times. And there's not going to be that many people there, so it's not going to exactly be
it's going to be a tough game to get up for.
For sure.
You remember playing those games. You remember playing teams that, you go into the game and you think you're going to win by 30 and there's 10 parents in the crowd and that's about it. I mean,
yeah. Yeah, the thing is, too, though, what the luxury with us is we just have so many guys that are capable of being on in one given night. Like Deshaun played 14 minutes, so in theory he should be fresh and ready to go.
Yeah.
So I just hope that Heise and Milan continue to play well. I mean, honestly, Milan from 3 has not been shooting it that well since he's came back. He's only shooting 41%, which is down to 45. But Heise's up to over 30. Taman's up to 34. Jefferson's shooting over 30% from 3. So I mean, if these guys are all capable shooters, we can win the national title. That's just
I mean, Curtis has dropped under 40. But he's also been changing the way they're guarding him. I mean, they're a lot tighter to him.
And he also shoots a ton.
Yeah, Curtis at 37%, basically. Taman at 34. Heise's up to 32. And Demarion's still floating around at 33. And then you got Milan. So I still want to see Chatfield turn one loose. I mean, he's capable of doing it. Huh?
He shot one, I think.
No, that was Deshaun. Deshaun shot one.
I think Chatfield shot one in the middle of Milan's absence, I believe. I think it was against UCF or something. Yeah, one. He didn't make it.
Yeah, he's 0 for 1. And so is Deshaun.
Deshaun didn't look bad either. So yeah, I don't know. I think I've honestly, just as a basketball fan, I love watching Houston play. Like last night was another great game, and they are so hard to beat because the pressure is on the opposing team the entire time. And they'll catch you slipping for 2 minutes, and all of a sudden they're up 9.
Right.
Which is kind of what we do at times too when we're healthy. Yeah. So because you said you don't want to play them again. I guarantee they don't want to play us again, especially if we're full strength. So just because it's such a
place. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, Baylor's kind of struggling right now, and
Baylor's gonna mess around and end up on the bubble.
So is Iowa in the Big Ten tournament? Have they?
They are currently not.
Currently not. Oh, well. That would be embarrassing. I didn't realize that Overton kid from Texas Tech is a Drake transfer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he played at Drake last year. Played 30 minutes a game.
Oh, wow.
And averaged 11 points. How good would Drake be if he was with them?
Seriously. Dang. Yeah, I know it's so hard. I mean, That's like half the broadcast is talking about where all these guys used to play. It's crazy, but it's just the world we live in.
Yeah, it's impossible to keep track of everything. Yeah, so I signed up for it's not a Ken Palm one. It's a Evan Maya that's one that Fran Fraschilla recommended. So I signed up for the stats thing. And it ranks players. So it has the MVP rankings of all of the players in the country. And I don't think we have anybody in the top 50.
Wow. Not even Curtis?
Yeah. No, I don't see Curtis anywhere. Give me a second. Yeah, it's but there's a kill shot one on there, which a kill shot, I believe his definition is 10 scoring 10 straight points.
Yeah, 10 a run.
So it's kind of interesting to think about that, because that is a big part of the game. If you score 10 points in a row, it makes it kind of hard to come back. Yeah, our highest ranked guy on this thing is 97th, and that's Joshua Jefferson.
Wow.
Joshua's 97, Taman's 121, Curtis is 141, Keshon's 160, Milan's 223. Yeah, and they go by.
I'd say if you watch basketball, sometimes the numbers don't tell the full story.
No, and that's right. I mean, I totally agree with you. I mean, the who's playing when makes a big difference when you're playing any of these teams. So yeah, no, hopefully get that one, and then we got a gold out on Saturday for the Arizona game, and that's a tough ticket right now. I mean, we do have gold shirts at soundthesirens.com, and they're not going to be there very long. So if you want one, you better jump on it, because I'm going to send some to Cyclone Alley again on Thursday, so they can have some more of them. But if you want one, get on Sound the Siren. We're all going to post a new link. If you want some Carhartt or anything like that, we've got a place you can get some Sound the Siren stuff that's embroidered, or a polo or something if you want to support that. You know, like we've said, we don't have ads or anything, so that's the only way we can try to even pay for this service we're using on the podcast thing. So, think we have any issue with Oklahoma State tonight?
I don't know. I mean, last time you asked me that question was the K-State game, so I don't know. I think right now, honestly, I just want to, like, we can't afford to have anyone else get hurt. You know what I mean? So, like, I think the way we're trending in the right direction. I thought, honestly, Houston was a big step forward. I thought we really fought and executed really well down the stretch, and we're just playing against 8 instead of 5, unfortunately. Honestly, the one thing I just want to see is I want to see Heise and Milan continue to be aggressive. Heise's been driving it a little bit, which he's been pretty effective. And I mean, Milan, gosh darn, like the first half of the year, I don't think he shot more than 20 shots inside the 3-point line. So it's really nice to see him, especially when he gets we did a really good job. And Kelvin talked about this in his press conference, where we would just get Cryer switch on Milan and then throw him the ball. Because when Milan's guarded by a shorter guy, you can't guard him because you can't contest him because his release is so high. So I said that during the game. You know, he sometimes will catch the ball coming off of a screen, but then not stop and then try to run into the lane. I think he does a really good job when he catches the ball and squares up and gives somebody a jab step, because they've got to honor that jab step now, because he does like to do that little Euro move. But every time he does that jab step, it gives him just enough room to get that 3-point shot off, because he is so tall. For sure. That's how he got his
height guarding him.
Yeah, his first one went in. He did exactly that, where he just took his time. And because there's times where he catches and shoots it, where he catches it a little high and doesn't bring it back down to reset, and it sometimes is a little rushed, but
it makes him off balance unless you're standing still. I mean,
right.
Yeah, no,
I think we'll be okay. I know nothing about Okie State, and I've just seen they haven't beat anyone of
Heise, their big guy from last year, playing for Memphis.
Yeah.
Remember him? A huge dude.
Yeah. So I think we'll be okay. I just got to I honestly, it just would be nice to not have to be really locked in the last 8 minutes. If you're up 15 and not take the foot off the gas, but like, at least it's just not mentally taxing if you have to squeeze one out in Stillwater.
Right. Right.
Just then get by, and because Arizona's a big game, because Arizona, they're not the Arizona of old. They're good, but they're not that good. They're not Houston good by any means.
Yeah.
And the Iowa State fans deserve to see us just kill them.
Well, but they're going to be up for the game too, because they know that we're going to be up for it. It's going to be a packed crowd. It's going to be loud, and so they're going to be ready to play too. So the odds of that happening are pretty slim, in my opinion. I think it's going to be a freaking rock fight.
I don't know. Caleb Love is not that good. I mean, you look at his stat lines since that game. He's like averages like 2 for 17 from 3. So he doesn't really worry me. And I've talked to some Arizona fans. They don't really like him because he just is a volume shooter, but most of his volumes is missing. So, yeah, I think it'll be fun. I mean, we got some good games, and BYU is playing really well right now, so that's going to be a tough game. Out. And then obviously K-State would also be a nice redemption one too. So we got some big opportunities. But again, right now, health is our priority 1, 2, and 3. So we just got to figure out a way to get healthy. I mean, I would like to see Keshon play Saturday. But I mean, honestly, I'd be fine with him going a little LeBron James load management and don't play him against K-State or something. I don't know. But Keshon's competitive, so I'm sure he's going to want to play as much as he can. So,
well, he's running to the end of his career too, though. I mean, he's not going to skip the BYU game. It's senior night.
No, right.
And also we've got Emily Orion's last game on Sunday too. So I mean,
oh wow,
there's a lot of legendary Cyclones that'll be for the last time being in Hilton. So what would you rather have? Us being Milwaukee for the first round for sure. Us being Milwaukee for the first round for sure, and then end up going west if we make the Sweet 16, or you still there?
Yeah.
Or being a first round that's further away, like Wichita or someplace like that, but be in Indianapolis for the Sweet 16.
Oh, Indiana. I don't think the first weekend we're good enough this year. In theory, it shouldn't matter having our home crowd there. We're gonna have a decent crowd wherever we go. I bet. Yeah. We just got to get out of the first weekend. Give me the Sweet 16 in Indy all day.
Yeah,
because I mean, there's gonna be a ton of Iowa State fans that would go. And then they would play in the Pacers arena. Then get to Tyrese Halliburton there. It'd be a lot of fun. So, yeah, I think no question. If we're the 3 seed in Indy, the 1 seed will be not happy.
Yeah, the new bracketology came out at 8:00 this morning, our time. Yeah, today's the 25th. So the new bracketology says North Carolina is first team out. Wake Forest is the last team in. Got us as a 2. Last 4 in: Nebraska, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Wake Forest. First 4 out is North Carolina, Indiana, SMU, and Xavier. That's some blue bloods in there. So they've got us in the West, but playing in Milwaukee the first weekend, and then we'd have to go to San Francisco after that as a 2 seed, and then Houston is the 2 seed in Wichita, which makes sense.
Houston's a 2 seed
as being in, yeah, that's what it's got as them being the in the Midwest. So they've got Alabama, Florida. I'm choking here. Alabama, Florida, Duke, and Auburn as the number 1s.
3 SEC schools. That's whatever 1 seed gets Houston as a 2 seed is not going to be thrilled, I'm sure. So
yeah, so Houston's number 1 according to this is Alabama. So they would play,
and they've already played this year.
Montana, Mississippi State, or San Diego State, and then their first Sweet 16 game would probably be against Wisconsin, which I would take Houston all day in that one.
Yeah, that's the thing. It'd be really nice to get a 2 seed. There is a pretty big difference, I feel, between a 7-10 versus a 6 for some reason. I feel like the 6 seeds are usually pretty good teams that sometimes have just had rough stretches, but 7 and 10 seeds are usually more inconsistent. So I would just like our chances. But that being said, we were a 7 seed and almost beat Ohio State. So I don't know.
Marquette is a 6 now, and BYU is an 8. So I don't think if this obviously is not going to be the way it turns out, but this has Florida, the number 1 seed, playing BYU in the second round.
Dang,
that's a rough game
for sure. And BYU is really good offensively, and they've got a top 10 pick on their team. So
And Auburn would have Creighton second round because they've got them as an 8 seed, and Duke would have New Mexico or UConn. Jeez, what version of UConn would they get?
Right,
UConn, definition of up and down. But that's those are some nasty second round games for number 1 seeds.
I know. I think this year, I mean, there's no true elite team. Auburn's been really good, but compared to teams in the past, they're not head and shoulders better than anyone. Like compared to the Anthony Davis Kentucky team, for instance. So it's going to be a lot of fun, but we're going to be an absolute mess until we get out of the first weekend. Like it's just going to be.
Well, everybody's going to have PTSD from UAB like we do, or Hampton. Right. I mean, we've all been there before. However, like we've said, all of the players of Eustachy's team said they were exhausted by the time they got to the Hampton game, so that wasn't surprising. And then we had, if you remember the UAB thing, may he rest in peace, but we had the Bryce Jean-Jones drama at the locker room at halftime that really messed us up too. And then we had the Frosted Tips game is what that one was as well. Yeah. So you remember I said that when they came out of the locker room and those Frosted Tips on, I looked at you and I said, oh my gosh, this isn't good.
No, yeah. I mean, I remember 55 seconds left. Thomas looks at me and said, we're going to lose. And I was like, yep.
Well, we were sitting eating pizza. We're eating pizza at 10:30 in the morning across the street from the Yum Center. And you looked at me and said, there's no way we lose today, is there? And I just kind of smiled and said, no. And then we're in the car the next morning pretty early.
I honestly, give me a 7 seed. I just don't want to be the first game of the day. That sucks so bad to have the first game of the day. I feel like it's almost always an upset. So give me 6 p.m. or something. I don't know.
Is there anything better, though, than that Thursday? You're sitting there and 11 o'clock rolls around and that music for CBS pipes up and then your day is over. Just sit and watch basketball all flipping day.
Yeah, no, it's my favorite weekend of the year. It's just so fun. March Madness is probably the best sports product college sports has to offer, I would say.
That's because we're basketball people. There's a lot of baseball people would say the World Series is.
I don't know. I mean, it's just so fun. I mean, there's 68 games in 2 days. Like, it's just 64 games in 2 days. It's just so fun. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. The thing is with us, I think every loss this year has never been about the other team being better than us. It's just been about us. Houston game, we don't have our 2 best players. Milan being out for that 3-game stretch where we just really Milan, in addition to our bench, just taking a sabbatical offensively. West Virginia, same thing, 1 for 17 from 3, and then Auburn, you let up a 16-point lead in the second half. Wasn't on them. I think it was just we didn't execute, and I think if we execute, we're going to win. So and the thing is too, we're learning quickly how good TJ is as a coach. I mean, he's finally starting to get some recognition, but he has just done such an incredible job. And you've never seen his name in these vacancies, but I couldn't see a scenario where he would leave because I think this is where he wants to be. So
he's going to get a lot of money.
Same thing about Fred. So I'll probably never be totally comfortable with it, but he just seems like a guy that's loving where he's at and he's building something. I mean, you look at the highlight tapes for the kids coming in next year. We've got some really good guards coming in, and who knows who's going to be back and who knows who we're going to get in the transfer portal. But I trust TJ to continue to steer us in the right direction because he's just hit home run after home run each year.
That's one thing Calvin Sampson said in his post game. He goes, "I know who's going to be on our team next year today." Does he really know that? I mean, they're pretty much saying we're going to match any offer you get from anybody else.
I mean, he hasn't had any attrition. They've all stayed.
Well, Usan, or however you pronounce it, came from Oklahoma this year. He wasn't there last year, right?
I guess he's probably just talking about the core guys.
Current players.
Juwan Roberts is gone, but I think everyone else comes. Juwan Roberts and Cryer are gone, and they've got like 4 top 30 kids coming in. So.
Yeah, no, it's got to be easy. It's got to be fairly easy to recruit to Houston today. I mean, Kelvin's stock is pretty high. I mean, I would assume Kelvin's going to get some money thrown at him too.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah,
he was at Indiana once. Will they take him back?
Was he?
Yeah, he got fired from Indiana.
Huh?
Because he was texting. he was texting a kid when he shouldn't be, so the NCAA went after him, and then that was pretty close to some of the other stuff that was going on in Indiana. So they parted ways, but it was because of that. I mean,
yeah, I mean, it is, but yeah, you look at like the Rick Pitino days, like he got in trouble, obviously, but now St. John's is really good, and he's a really good coach.
Yeah, talk about a coach. Holy mackerel. I've been a Rick Pitino fan since I read his book called Born to Coach in 1989. That was when he was just going from Providence, I believe, to the NBA. And, most people don't remember he had a child die back then. He's had quite the run in the basketball coaching world, but he obviously knows what he's doing because every place he's gone, he's turned to gold.
Yeah, and I listened to an interview. He was on Pardon My Take, and he was talking about how he coached in Europe too, and he said they operate on 1-year contracts essentially. So he said the NIL era is essentially Europe, what they deal with now. So he had some experience in that. So I think that's obviously helped him navigate this new landscape. But yeah, I mean, X's and O's. There's hard to argue. There's that many people better than him.
Yeah, but also the big difference between Europe and now is that with the NIL, you've got like a 4-week window where you have to judge talent, come up with the budget, and then put your roster together. I mean, it's like with the NBA and everybody, it's a much more. You have your margin of error is a lot wider because you got a lot more time to deal with it.
For sure.
Yeah. So I threw this question out to you two guys yesterday. So when they're leveling the playing field, when they're paying through the university. So I guess I don't know if I'm not well versed enough to know if the collectives are just going to merge with the university or they're going away or whatever. So if they're going to try to level the playing field with this money with the NIL, are we going to go back to the blue bloods? Are going to start paying people under the table so then so they can get above, the salary cap or whatever it is? I mean,
I think it's going to be a little more regulated as far as I think you'd be at risk for getting audited. But also too, there's only so much money. So they've got to raise enough money to fill this pot to max out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm sure some of these schools will have people willing to give more money, but I think the max is $22 million. So it'd be crazy to get double that. You know what I mean? So
right.
I don't know.
Maximum you can pay one person is $22 million.
Max is no. I think the entire budget for the year.
Right. Yeah. So I was going to say, yeah. But if you say everybody's maximum budget is $22 million, but then you got somebody else that wants to pick a random blue blood player that's gotten paid under the table before NIL.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's going to be contracts though too. I think the kids are going to sign contracts, so I think it'll be. Which then I think they're supposed. My understanding is they're supposed to be able to then also be transparent with how much kids are getting paid potentially too. So I think it may be easier to catch people because back in the day, not everyone was paying, so you could pay, I don't know, say Andrew Wiggins $1 million, and
why'd you pick that name at random?
I don't know. Yeah, weird. But now I don't know. I'm sure there's going to be cheating wherever we go. I'm sure there's cheating now. There's definitely cheating now. There's people calling kids while they're still playing, which is illegal.
Yeah.
So that's illegal in the NBA.
Right. But the players do it internally.
Yeah.
There's always a way around it.
Yeah. So
yeah, I don't know. Hope we can seal off tonight and make that one a low stress game, and it'll be a wild crowd on Saturday because everybody's going to be wanting to exercise the demons of the Arizona game down there, and it'll be a nicer night. Did you see the kids at Texas Tech camping out last night? They showed the video of them. They're in shorts, having to have an umbrella to keep the sun out of their eyes. Come on. That's not camping out. Yeah, we need to bring in a pile of snow or something to make them sit in that.
For sure.
I said, that's cheating. They shouldn't be able to do that. So, all right. Well,
we have 4 regular season games to watch Keshon and Curtis before the tournament play. We just have to enjoy every game we get to watch them because they are all-time greats. They are so fun to watch. They play the right way, and we've got the right guy leading us in TJ. So I think April is always a sad time because basketball's over, but we're not quite there yet. We just need to realize we're in the good old days right now and just enjoy every moment.
Yeah, so I totally agree. I mean, it's February 25th, and a month from now will be the tournament, and then it's over. So we just need to, especially these next couple home games here. I mean, the Arizona State game, obviously, everybody wants to go to, but I saw tickets for the BYU game are going pretty cheap. So need a packed house for senior night then too. And then I like to say, I hope we get a bunch of, I'm not going, but I hope there's a lot of people that make the trip to Manhattan for that Saturday game.
Yeah,
against
I think
Kansas
there's a
State.
group of my friends that are going. So
that would be fun to take over that place because they've lost 3 in a row.
I think they're out now.
Their last win was against Arizona. So they're back to
which was
back
that ended they beat us, Kansas, and Arizona in a 10-day stretch.
Yeah, so how soon is this Kansas loss at Lawrence starting to look like a bad loss?
I think they'd have to fall below like 75 in the net, which I think Iowa is going to. So it's still a quad 1 loss, I think.
Yeah, Marquette's not playing well. Dayton's not playing well. Colorado's playing a little better, but they're not near what we thought they were going to be in Mountain.
I know, yeah. Our non-con kind of sucks now, which is unfortunate, but it's not your fault. I mean, you can schedule teams you think are going to be good. That's all you can do.
Kansas State has at UCF tonight. No, at UCF tomorrow night. Colorado, and then at Cincinnati. So I mean, Cincinnati could give them a run. I'm not sure Colorado can go into Manhattan and win, and UCF is kind of a mess right now too. So they might get right too. I don't know how long Hawkins is out, but
yeah.
I don't see him even listed on the stats. Why is that? That would be wild. No, there he is. Yeah, no, he's still there. He's missed 1 game. Doug McDaniel's missed the game too. Yeah, no, it'll be fun. If you get a chance to go out and watch a game, or somebody's giving away tickets, don't hesitate to grab them. I know student tickets are going for like $5 for Saturday, so students need to fill that place up Saturday
for sure. Yeah, it's frustrating.
Yeah. So all right, well, I guess we'll have to see how the week plays out.
All righty, go Cyclones.
All right. Go Cyclones.